Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called New Manager, New Policy. A couple of decades ago, I was working as a network engineer for a consulting company. The company owner, Kim, was the best salesperson I've ever met. She could sell ice to Eskimos. She had a temper, threw a shoe at me once, but great technical knowledge and knew when she didn't know something. After I'd been there a couple of years, we got a new engineering manager. Let's call him Richard. Normal company policy had always been that meetings would be announced over the intercom when they were ready to start. We had engineering meetings once a month, early morning. The next one was announced a little later than normal, but eventually it was announced and we all headed over. Richard was not happy that few people were in the conference room at the time the meeting was scheduled to start. He made it crystal clear to us all that in the future meetings would not be announced over the intercom, and that he expected us all to be in the conference room at the time meetings are scheduled to start. We all knew the reason for that policy was that the owner was never ready for a meeting to start at the scheduled time. She was always running late, or the previous meeting ran over, whatever. New manager flexing his authority and trying to rip us into shape with a dumb rule? Yeah, we didn't say anything. A few hours later, it is time for a meeting that actually includes the company owner. I head over to the conference room a few minutes early to find the door closed. I wait until meeting time, knock on the door, poke my head in and ask if this was the customer meeting. The owner is like, "What? No. You know we announce meetings over the intercom. Why would you think this was the customer meeting?" Our new engineering manager announced at the engineering meeting this morning that meetings would no longer be announced over the intercom, and that we were expected to be in the conference room at the time meetings are scheduled to start. I'm surprised his head didn't explode with the look she gave him. Meetings will be announced over the intercom when they are ready to start. Okay, thank you. And with that, I closed the door and left. That was the one and only time he ever announced a new policy. The next story is called I Am Right, You Are Wrong. I worked in homes for disabled adults for over a decade. Every client had an ISP, individual service plan. As a caregiver, it was our job to know what was outlined in each plan. Every year, the local baseball team hosts a night for the group homes. This was also when HR would come with any home that might need a hand. I got stuck with one of the most annoying HR people several years ago. Terry just thought she knew everything. She kept telling me I couldn't take photos of the clients. I could, we had photo permission. That one client didn't need their wheelchair to walk to the seating. They did, etc. We were seated next to another home that I used to be at, and so I helped those staff as needed too. One client had in his plan that the socks, braces and shoes only had to be worn in the van for safety reasons. We had worked hard with him to get to that point. There was a lot of upset and punching involved, but we got there. Well, see, Terry thought she knew everything and insisted that this client had to have his footwear on. We kept trying to tell her that he wouldn't tolerate it. Her answer? Just do it. I'm right, you are wrong. So we complied. Okay, but we have to put your footwear back on. And the other staff and I wrestled everything on. Not 5 minutes later, one shoe went sailing and landed next to Terry. Oh, but we can't throw our shoes. Next went the brace and sock, which hit poor Terry in the back of the head. Soon after, while we were picking up those items, off came the other footwear, of which the shoe and the sock hit her head at this time. Whoops, I know you don't like these, but we have to put them back on. Again, everything was stripped and launched. Every single thing hit Terry in the head again. I ran to gather his things and said, "I am so sorry, we will get these back on ASAP. She handed them back to me and said, "Forget it. Obviously, the ISP needs to state that he can't have his footwear on. Let me make a note." She looks at his plan, looks at us, looks at it again. "Oh, he only has to have them on in the van?" The last story is called The Slowest Mile. Growing up, my siblings and I went to a private Baptist school. Our parents wanted to keep us from the world's evil influence. It did not work, as I'm sure 99% of people who attend those types of schools know what actually goes on in those environments. Anyway, once a year we went to what was called Regional Student Convention, aka Regionals. This was a big fine arts competition between other schools like ours in the region. People from Arizona, New Mexico, Kansas and Texas came to one spot somewhat in the middle to compete so they could move on to International Student Convention. Our school didn't go to internationals but took regionals pretty seriously. There are over 100 fine art categories you can sign up for. Our teachers required at least 7, but no more than 12 I believe. The categories included photography, acting, writing, color guard, some sports, singing, art and track and field to name a few. I would try my best to do the most allotted categories, since my parents took the week of regionals off and liked to see us perform. I would do photography, sewing, research projects, multiple singing groups, some playtime things, and I played on the volleyball team. All of these were picked because I wanted to do them. I wanted the week to be fun for myself and my family. One year, the teacher in charge decided to micromanage everything about this week. They decided they were going to tell everyone what they were doing instead of letting us pick ourselves. The teacher decided one sports activity was not enough and wanted me to sign up for a track and field event. I told them I did not want to, as I had done it in the past and did not win. And I ended up exhausted the whole rest of the day, as I did not ever train at all for the events. Our school was a church building that they could convert to a school Sunday nights, so no grounds for such a thing. Track and field happened on a Tuesday morning, and then after lunch it was time to do singing competitions. It made for a miserable day for me. The teacher did not care and decided I would be running the timed 1 mile run. They could have easily made me do something less exhausting like the 100-meter dash, but more people signed up for that than they did the mile. So by their logic, we had a better chance at a medal. Most teachers that take students to these competitions want to receive a plaque of achievement for that category. So they try to get as many people to participate so the plaque can hang in the school hallway. The teacher did not care that I requested not to do this and told me, "You will sign up for it. Even if you walk the whole mile, you will participate." I replied with, "Yes ma'am," and filled out the required paperwork. The day of the competition comes and we are all warming up waiting for our events. The teachers are all there cheering us on, as well as all the other students who were not competing. Our school did not take it too seriously, we didn't have any training or anything, so it was just a morning spent on the grass for us. After a while, it was time for the female mile, and I was all smiling. The teacher asked if I was ready, and I replied, "Are you ready?" They had no idea what they were in for. I lined up with all my fellow competitors and waited for the gun to go off. Once off, I did a little jog, and of course everyone rushed past me. Then I walked. I walked the entire mile, which, if you don't know, is 4 times around a track field. There was so much confusion, and many people came up to me thinking I was hurt. I replied to them all, "I'm fine, just doing what my teacher told me to," with a smile and a wave. The officials were confused, the other competitors were confused, even my parents were confused. I turned what would have been a 10 to 20 minute event into a 35-minute event, which is a lot of time considering they could not start anything else till the female mile was complete. So everything was at a standstill because of me. I eventually finished and my judge didn't even give me my completed time since it was so ridiculous. I did finish in 6th place since there were only 5 other competitors, so I still got a medal. Woohoo for me. When I tell you the principal of our school was mad, I mean if he was a cartoon there would be steam coming out of his whole body. He was silently screaming at me, telling me how much I embarrassed him, the school, myself and most importantly God. I very calmly explained, I only participated as my teacher told me to do. I know that nothing happened to the teacher for making me do that event, but I was never forced to sign up for anything I didn't want to again. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. And I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.